Thanks. Now, this next demonstration is my favorite physical demonstration. History of what you're about to see goes back a long way. It goes back to the turn of the last century, late 1800s, early 1900s. There was something called table tilting or lifting that was very popular. Some of you may have actually tried this before. The idea is you get 4 people, you set them on each side of a lightweight table. You put your hands lightly on top of it, and you concentrate on it. You try to get the table to move without physically shoving it. And then pretty soon the table would start to slide around on the floor, and sometimes it would actually tilt and rise up into the air. Now there was a story of a group of 8 magicians who got together one night to check this out, to see if they could do it legitimately, without using strings or wires or anything like that. They gathered in an apartment in Manhattan, sat around a big, solid oak table. The table weighed over 150 pounds. Put their hands on top of it, and they concentrated on it. They thought about it for an hour and a half, and nothing happened. The table just sat there. Then they took a break, and they decided they would come back, and they would try again. But this time, they were going to forget their skepticism, believe that it was possible, and only try for 5 minutes. It was the same 8 men, same 150-pound table, hands again just slightly on top, but for only 5 minutes this time. This time they were believing that it could work, power of positive thinking. At the end of that 5-minute period, the table shook a little bit, then it flipped over, and it cracked directly through the center. Killed all 8 men. No, I'm just kidding. But it is actually, it's a true story up until the death scene. Then I just elaborate a bit to make sure you are still with me. Well, when I first heard the story, I started working on what I'm going to try to show you now. But doing this thing for a long amount of time, and during that amount of time, I've gotten a lot of feedback as to how it can be done. So before we get into any movement, and hopefully we'll have a lift for you this afternoon, I want to disprove different things that I've heard of in the past with help of that woman. Would you mind? Come on up for a second. Why don't you come around and stand behind this table, and I'll explain what I would like you to do. Round of applause for her. Oksana, I want you just to stand back here. First thing I want you to do is to place your hands flat on top of the table and run your hands around the top of the table, Oksana. Make sure that it is flat. It is not round like a basketball that you could palm in your hands. It's also solid. It's not a spongy material that you can dig your fingernails into. Now, Oksana, the table is in very bright light. Maybe. The table is in very bright light. There are no strings or wires attached to it. True? A couple other explanations, things you may not think of at first. One is that it can be done through magnetism. So I brought along a pair of scissors made out of metal, magnet made out of magnet. And Oksana, I want you to pull the magnet from the scissors, place it on top of the table, run it around, make sure there's not enough metal to even attract the magnet, let alone lift or move the table. No attraction whatsoever, true? Okay, you can leave it rest somewhere on top. Yeah, wherever you want. Put the scissors on top, run the scissors around. Now you're checking for the reverse. You're making certain there are no hidden magnets within the table which will be attracted to the metal of the scissors. Again, no attraction whatsoever, true? One final explanation. This is the only one I used to disprove when I first got started doing this. That's that there is some type of a tape or a glue, an adhesive, either on the palms of my hands or on the top of the table. Now, Oksana, you've already felt the top of the table. There's nothing sticky there. I want you just to feel the palms of my hands. Make sure that there's nothing sticky there. Do that again, just make sure. Once again, interesting. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, we're going to take this one step farther. I have this little pocket square. Would you pull that from my pocket? Place it over the top of the table. Now, during the entire demonstration, our hands will only touch the table through that scarf. That way, in case I did sneak super glue on the palms of my hands real quick when no one was looking. And I pressed my hands onto the scarf and I lifted my hands. If I did that, all that I would accomplish is that I would have a scarf stuck permanently in the palms of my hands. The table would stay right where it is. Because, Oksana, you know that that is not attached to the table. You could pull it from the table if you wanted to. True? Okay, now I'm going to give you some very simple directions. Most important thing you have to remember, over the next few seconds, should that table go anywhere, you go with it. Okay, just kind of move with the table. If it goes too high, forget about it. Once up here walking around, you just follow it. At one point, I will say, Oksana, take your hands off. When I do that, just lift your hands off and come over and stand by this table. And then if this table starts to move, run. Now, give Oksana and I a second, and then watch what happens, I hope. We're going to start center stage. Table will be between us. You'll be on one side, I'll be on the other side. We may not look at each other, but we will stand directly across from each other. So as the table moves, we keep it between us. For example, if I'm here, that means the table is now moved to here, and you will be here with your back towards the audience. You just have to be aware, because we're a couple feet in the air, just be aware of where you are. Because if we get too close to the edge of the stage and you feel uncomfortable, just walk away. Do not sacrifice yourself for the table. Are you ready? Okay. Follow my needle. With my right hand leads here, push your left hand there. Go. plate. Just take my place. The same thing. My left hand leaves here, your right hand's going to take it. Good. Lift up on your palms, just your fingertips touch the table. Just your fingertips. Feel the table, but don't press down on it. Still light pressure. Don't try to move it, and don't try to keep it from moving. Just walk.
Oh my God.
Box out and now lift your hands off, stand back by the other table.
Oh my God.
Thanks very much. I just have one last demonstration for you. This one, if you've been curious about what's been going on, but you didn't really want to come up here on stage, or you wanted to come up on stage.